All right, guys, here we are for another Twilight Zone episode review. I guess we call that. We're gonna be talking about episode 3 of the Twilight Zone.
Season 1 as it appears on Netflix.
Yes. I enjoyed this episode.
I did too.
I like the Old West as much as the next guy.
My first note is cowboy times!
Yeah.
With an exclamation point that I've just added now because that's how I meant it, but I didn't record that.
It makes me wonder, whenever I watch things in the Old West, like exactly how did it go? Were they really making drunks dance and sing?
They do that now.
But I feel like money was hard to come by. You can't just be giving away money to people.
I'm gonna cite the old joke that Louis C.K. says, where he says, "I love in the Old West where a guy would just be like cleaning a glass, and you just walk in and be like, I need a room for the night and a whore to spend with me in my bed, and take care of my horses and a bottle of whiskey and all that." And he just plunks down like one coin and slides it over, and the guy's like bites it and goes, "All right," and it's good or whatever. Like money was such a weird, maybe just in movies or whatever, but money was such a weird concept.
Well, money grew on the ground because we were just mining gold and whatnot, I think, in the Old West. But just the same, it always strikes me as odd because things have a value. Like I'm never like somewhere and go, "Hey, you sing for 10 seconds and I'll give you $3." Like
I know. No, I don't know how much whiskey, booze. It was like clear how much stuff costs or whatever the fuck.
But even when things cost less, they cost less because that was what the value of that money was then. It's not like
well, I don't know.
You didn't just have more money. I don't know. But regardless, moving on to what this episode is really about.
I loved the dudes taunting him, though, because the main dude was some Dwight Yoakam-looking, like, shit-heel motherfucker, like something about his mouth and his eyes. I was like, "Oh, you're a shit-heel. This is great." And he is like, 3 choruses this time. And I'm like, "Oh, make him sing for a long thing. That's awesome."
So,
makes him sing the worst song ever.
Yeah, I'm dry.
No one knows how dry I am. The guy singing, the drunk, is named Denton. We find out that he used to be a gunslinger.
Yeah, but now he's down on his luck. He went into a drinking problem after he killed a young boy who challenged him in a gunfighting duel.
He was a man who began his dying early, a long, agonizing route through a maze of bottles.
Yeah.
The writing in, like, the Rod Serling
it is wonderful.
Is often so fucking good. And I was like, mwah, I gotta pause and write all that down.
So he's down on his luck, but fate steps in to shine upon him.
Mr. Fate!
Yeah.
How do you feel about stuff like that when it's so on the nose or whatever?
I don't hate it when it's good.
I didn't hate it here.
Especially when he said he made a self-referential fate thing later on in the episode.
Yeah.
What did he say exactly?
Remember that, but don't forget the night that, when fate stepped in or something like that. Yeah.
When fate smiled upon you. When fate, something like that. And I like that.
Henry J. Fate.
Yeah.
And he says just a service or whatever. I wasn't sure if that was meant to be like a thing with justice or something like that. I don't know. But I liked it. But,
a gun just magically appears next to him while he's on the ground and, boozed up on his rummy. And, he just picks it up, happens along his day. The guy who's been taunting him is now like, "Hey, what do you got there? Oh, you got yourself a gun? You wanna play around a little bit?" And I'm like,
I don't know.
In my head, I'm like,
what?
I'm like, "Do you mean like to the death right now?"
I think
real
he did.
quick?
I was like, "What?
Yeah.
You mean like shoot each other? Is that how we do it?" And I'm like, "Oh, the Old West was cruel. The value of human life was very low."
Because when he said, "Do you want to draw?" I was like, does he mean just like who can draw the fastest?
Yes.
And I'm like, no, I think because everyone's like protesting. You actually mean you want to kill this drunk?
And people like run out of the way behind him because they're like, "Oh shit," and kind of like duck. And I'm like, "No, they're gonna shoot each other. This is crazy."
But that kind of shit where I'm like, I don't even know if that was far fetched because there were no rules, right? Like you could just kill people as long as you said duel.
Yeah, there was some weird. I'm not sure of the particulars or whatever, but yeah, and like. That got me thinking about all that. I'm like, imagine being a bartender and just being like, "Oh fuck again," and go behind the bar and like crawl and hide and be like, "Oh god, please don't fucking break my shit or kill somebody else again." Oh no,
or
whatever.
That's horrible.
Just trying to like do your thing, just trying to live your life. What do? I carve these things, into this, and then the blacksmith does that. It's like great, okay, and then someone walks in, duel, and you're like, "Oh fuck, point it that way, please," and you hide, and you're like, "Fuck, not again."
Or they're challenging you, and you're like, "I don't even have a gun. Can I throw a hammer?" Like.
Right. Could throw a molten horseshoe at you or something. I don't know.
So, like he just is waving the gun, like I don't want to fight. I don't want to do anything. And like
there's like a weird close shot of it doing like that one, and then it goes,
shoots the gun like right out of his hand. They're like, "Oh, that was great, Johnny. Let me buy you a drink."
He's got it. He's back. he hits, and then when they're inside, he hits the chandelier and knocks it out of his hand.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? That's amazing, or whatever. There's
And
two
then
shots.
he's come back. He's like I'm a man again.
He
I'm no
gets
longer a lush. It's the sobriety of success.
He gets his shave. He combs his hair. It's like symbolic.
Oh wait,
it's
we're
visual.
skipping over one awesome part.
Okay.
Where he gets up in that guy's face and he just punches him to the ground.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, bitch, I'm a man, and don't call me rummy.
Don't call me Ron. Well, because yes. Because that's the thing. What'd you call me? Like, I was like, I didn't call you nothing. I just called you whatever. He said, no. What'd you call me? Like, Mr. Denton? He's like, that's right, Mr. Denton. And I was like, oh, it's like a cursed gun from like the devil, and he's turning back into his like bad self. This is great. Went in like a different direction.
No, yeah, it went
veered off.
in a very unexpected. I hadn't seen this episode before. It went in a very unexpected direction. Where now the legend is out, like almost immediately in the Old West. As fast as the Pony Express could travel, this news is spread that he is the gunslinger to beat. He is Quick Draw McGraw himself, and somebody's boy is coming. Go tomorrow. Somebody, whatever his name was, he's gonna be here at 10, and he wants to draw on
Write
you.
down his name.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh golly.
Well, and I love that fucking trope because that's in like a different episode of the Twilight Zone that we're gonna get to eventually, or something with that involves playing pool, I believe. But there's the whole thing of like, yeah, I'm the best, and it's like, congratulations. Now every hasty from here to Biloxi is gonna come and try to prove it, and all that shit, and blah blah blah. And one day it's gonna be me lying face down or whatever. But so far I've killed all these people. Like that whole thing, which I don't think happens like anymore. There's no like, well, he's the best, whatever the fuck, and like no one even talks about that. No one's challenging anyone, or no one's like, I hear that guy's the best. I have to go. I hear that guy's the best guitar player. I have to go down and say, meet me at the Guitar Center. We're going to cut heads at the crossroads.
I think
that doesn't happen.
There's still a layer of that. Because you get the guy, like, whenever, like, people arm wrestle or something at work, someone's like, oh, yeah, who won? Let me do that. Like, there's always people that want to be the best of things.
Yes.
It's
that
weird, though, in a
so,
time that's so easy to get that information across that we do have less of that. We're like, I could Google who is the best of something. And I think it's because you can find out how much better they are than you.
And that's hopeless or whatever. No.
Before, there was only just words, he's really good. Well, I'm the best. Let me fight him.
I'm going to have to go see that for myself. Now I just go to YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
No, that's why it feels different today. Because, yes, in, like, super localized things, that people just do that because that's what people do. What was different about the Old West was, like, riding into town. Like, so you're the fastest gun in Mississippi. And he's like, who says who? And you're just fucking doing it. You have to do it, like, traveling to do it is the main difference.
Do you only get one shot in a duel?
I
thought... I guess there's different ones.
What if both people miss? I don't know.
I could have sworn I've seen things where people are like pop pop pop, and like they just like unload, like the whole like like that one. Yeah,
I love that shit too. Fuck.
I don't know the rules, and no one went over them ahead of time.
No one states the rules, so everyone knows the rules. But that's fine, I guess.
I need to know the actual rules because I'd be pulling that trigger because I might be dead. I don't care about wasting some bullets, you know.
Well, and you might be shot and not dead yet, and you might have missed the first shot and just keep shooting, and maybe you'll hit him or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's how I would, like approach it. I think this is some weird honorable like thing, and there might be this unwritten like in a lot of movies and a lot of shows. It seems to be draw shoot, and then someone wins or someone loses, and it's over.
That's because, like in movies, people are good shots. I think.
Well, and I think there's something about that, like thing, and then like pans over, and they're both standing there, and then one guy falls down. And you're like, oh shit! Like it's more dramatic that way.
I'd like it to be like a knight's thing. So you'd come in on the horses, and you'd knock the guy off the horse, and then it would be a fight on the floor.
Yeah.
I want it to be you have a gun with one bullet in it each, and you fire, and then you come in with knives.
Maybe that's how they enforce that, though, is each gun only has one bullet.
Maybe.
That could work. We have to think about this time travel, make sure everything lines up. That's it. No, there's lots of ways to do it.
The problem was he was playing Russian roulette, but he wasn't using a revolver. So where did we leave off?
The challenger's
the guy's
in town.
Coming in, and he's practicing that day because he knows that was a fluke. I didn't even do that. That was like a magic gun. What's happening?
And he sucks, which I love. Okay, real quick little junkie moment here or whatever the fuck. In a lot of movies, someone quits drinking and then they go like Randy Quaid, did it right. Where he's like, I picked a hell of a day to quit drinking because he's all like fucked up. Because it isn't like you just stop. If you're like a drunk and you just stop drinking, it isn't like the next day you're fucking like awesome. There's a whole process process of like withdrawal and detoxing, and his hands are shaking and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, good, because I was afraid because you see him clean shaven, haircut, talking like very lucidly or whatever, and I was like, okay, now he's just gonna be doing it or whatever. But I love that they showed him just a fucking mess and being like, oh god, I'm gonna die.
There's a lot where like it's like the last bit of like liquor when they realize I gotta stop, and like they throw it up in the air and they shoot the bottle, like, and you're like, yeah, that'd happen.
There's I think it's Once Upon a Time in Mexico, but there's Desperado himself.
Mm-hmm.
There's these two dudes, and like one dude's young and like not as good, and one dude's older and good but all drunk, and he says, you practice shooting, you practice not drinking, we have to go do this thing or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. But like similar to like you're a fucking mess. And he is, which makes I love it.
So Fate, what's his name, John F. Fate or whatever?
Henry J. Fate.
Henry J. Fate steps in, and he's like,
and it fucking says it on his fucking like haberdashery fucking thing. He's a peddler by trade.
He's like, sir, I don't want anything you have. I have this, I got wares, I got trades, I got potions, elixirs, as you might know them.
And it's like,
he's like, this
oh,
one,
that's right. Yes,
this one will make you the best shot in the West for 10 seconds. He's like, what? Try it if you don't believe me. That's your target. Ting! Like kills this light from like a mile away. Yep. He's like, all right, and he gives him one more. What do I owe you, sir? Nothing. This one's on the house, or whatever the fuck he says.
Just a service.
Yeah.
Just a service of Henry J. Fate. And don't forget the night that Fate stepped in, or something like that.
So then we flash forward to it's 10 o'clock when that guy says he's gonna get there. He's walking in. He turns his back. He takes a little swig of his shot. You look back, the other guy also is taking a shot.
Oh my god, yeah.
And in the audience, there's me hitting start on my counter. Because I was like, let's see what 10 seconds really delivers us.
Please.
Between the
please
time
report.
even the second person took the drink, the first guy, our main character, took the drink, and then the other guy took the drink. It's a full 32 seconds before either one of them attempts to shoot, and they shoot at the same time, both hitting themselves in the hand, which does not have any blood at all. But I'll say it's probably because it was the 50s, they weren't allowed to show blood or something.
There's a little like when the not immediately, and they don't show anything actually hitting or anything like that. The guns just fly out. When the dude's bandaging it, there's some like discolored, and the other guy in the beginning had something too, but yeah, not In my head, it's like...
I was like, did they shoot the guns at first? I thought they each shot the guns out, and he's like, oh, that bruise, you won't be fighting. I was going to say, like, this week.
They put something on, like, his hand to try to... But, yeah, it was totally just an implied thing or whatever. In my head, it's like a Tarantino movie, like, your hand's, like, shot through, and it's gruesome and all that stuff, but yes.
But that made me think, because I'm like, that was... Like, because it was 30 seconds, I go, would the potion have made them kill each other, or... Like he said, after 10 seconds, it's all you.
Oh, I think you are counting real seconds, and those were movie seconds.
I don't know.
And they totally shot in time, and they shot each other's guns out, and that was fate, like, saving these people. Because the outro says, like, grab a man about to fall into a hole or to help someone else out of one or whatever, about these two gunslingers that he saved their lives by maiming them so they can't gunsling anymore. Or whatever.
I like to think that we...
I would like to think that, too.
I like to think that we have an impact on fate, and we can take things into our own hands. And by pausing and waiting the 10 seconds, they both did not die. Instead, they got to live on. So had they gone with their guts and taken that shot and shot, they would have died. But they didn't. They hesitated long enough.
So they both missed in exactly the same way by accident?
Kind of, because he said something, like they hesitated, and this is just my opinion. I don't know.
I like a theory.
They hesitated, and that's why they lived. And his then first approach to the guy, he goes, and now you won't be so quick to shoot you won't be able to, you won't be able to engage quickly into anger and shoot somebody or something. And I was like, a nod to the fact that you waited.
Oh, did he say quickly or just...
He said quickly.
I thought he said you'll never be able to draw a gun in anger.
He said quickly
draw
in
on
anger.
Somebody in anger. Okay. That would change my mind, but I don't remember him saying that.
That I would wager 96 cents I'm pretty sure he said quickly.
Too rich for my blood.
But like,
no,
again,
I like your theory. I dig it.
It was over 10 seconds, and like that I know for a fact. But yeah, it could have been movie seconds.
Yeah.
But it wore off, like, in real seconds was the 10 seconds of the first time. That's why I associate it to real 10 seconds the second time.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like the idea. So the only reason I'm very hesitant to go that to go there is that they like framed it up already with like to not be that. And so far there hasn't been any of these like deep extra things in these Twilight Zones.
We're only
It's
three
been
in
very I know, but like the main point of the Twilight Zone so far to me has been just like marveling at how little it took to impress people back then, and how the whole 20-minute episode revolves around one little thing. And in my head, like, I'm already thinking about like 10 more things beyond that of what it could be, but it's just that.
Something that's odd to me about the whole premise of this episode is like fate can magically just like wink guns into existence, but requires you to take this potion. And is that because you needed to willingly take that? Like, did you have to willingly take the potion? And that's what further makes me believe that the pausing actually mattered.
I like that a lot because he does like explicitly say, "Well, after that, it's all up to you" or something like that. But I don't know why they would both decide not to shoot the other person.
I don't think they both decided. I think they were both cautious because like he has the shot that makes it so he can't lose. He has the shot that makes it so he can't lose. Oh God, oh God. And then like in your head, like you would draw when you saw the other guy draw, and maybe one of them was like, all right, so if I waited out, he wanted the magic. I'm 48 years old. I've been gunslinging my whole life. And he's like, I'm pretty good. I think I could do it.
I'm younger, I'm faster. I can do this.
And like they just wait out the 10 seconds.
I think if they had done anything to make me think that that's what they were doing, I would be 100% on board with that. But I'm still super hesitant to get on the train. But I love the theory, and if that was true, I would be very, very, very impressed with the whole thing.
Let us know what school you are in, what court you fall.
Like if they had cut to a clock, or if they had showed something off or something, relying on like me to time it, I think is not enough, because the show is so spoon feeding and so explicit.
It cut back and forth from his eyes to his eyes like more than 10 times. So even if you just thought each one of those cuts was a second, you could have counted it out. I physically did. I watched it and then I went back and I timed it because I had a thought.
So you were like, oh.
Because in my head I was like I think he waited more than 10 seconds. I think that was on purpose. And then I watched it again and timed it and it was 32 seconds.
That would have made total sense if he had shot that guy in the hand or something like that.
But that guy didn't shoot him in the hand.
But he shot him in the hand too.
Well,
it's very weird.
Maybe our main character purposely tried to shoot him in the hand, but other guy was just bad without the drink and shot him in the hand.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll never actually know. There's no.
No, I'm gonna Google it. I'm gonna be like, did the author ever explain this in like detail? Was he ever on a podcast? It's probably gone forever.
He was too old to ever be on a podcast.
That's my joke. Is like nowadays when there was something like this, whoever wrote it or screenplayed it would like say it on Twitter or some bullshit, and you would know immediately.
Well, let us know what you think as audience members. Do you believe that this actually happened? Do you have any last sentiments here for this episode?
No, sir.
All right, so that was episode 3, season 1 of The Twilight Zone. Check it out on Netflix right now. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And until next time, don't die in a fire.